Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another beginner's guide for Marvel Heroes Omega. Now with this guide we will have a look at that awesome Dr. Doom. He's an exceptionally strong character with three very distinct builds that you can use separately, or if you want you can use a mixture of all three. The three different builds he has are Summon, Technology and also Sorcery, so he's a whole lot of fun. Now what we'll cover in this beginner's guide is we'll show off his talents and traits, we'll have a look at a few of his costumes, we'll then check out his signatures, and I say signatures because he actually has three, which is really pretty awesome, and also we'll show off gameplay. We've got three gameplay segments, so we'll show off some inside of things, follow that up with the tech, and then we end up with the sorcery, which is possibly my favourite of the three. But first up, let's have a look at his traits and resource. Start off here then looking at the offensive trait, that is Will of Doom. Now with this he gains a 25% base damage to summon powers. His primary attributes are energy and intelligence, so you can either go for the spirit cost reduction or you can go for the crit damage rating. Personally I would go for the crit damage rating. His defensive trait is Ingenious Defense. It gives him extra maximum health. He has a defense rating multiplier and also a deflect rating multiplier, and because he actually has some close quarters moves as well, when you hit with a melee power you gain 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. Now when we look at his resource, like the signature and the fact he's got 3 of them, he's unique when it comes to the resource as well, because he's actually got 2. He's got power, which is used for the technological skills, and then he has magic, which is used for the sorcery skills, and these regenerate at a rate of 10% per second. So if you want to sustain a spender, what you want to do is increase your power or magic pool high enough that that 10% regeneration is more than you're actually spending. But what we'll check out next will be a few of his costumes. First costume we look at here is the one everyone's used to seeing Doom in. It's a classic green look. This is really nice, this one. We then follow up with quite a strange one. It's a Doom 2099. It's certainly very different, this particular costume. And then finally we have the God Emperor costume. This one looks absolutely fantastic. One thing that was pointed out to me is the face looks a bit like a bulldog if you look at it, and now that you've seen it you probably won't be able to get it out your mind, so apologies for that. But other than that, great looking costume. Now next up, let's have a look at his 3 different signatures. As mentioned then, with Dr. Doom being the awesome character that he is, most characters have 1, maybe 2 signatures at most. He has to have 3, he has to be better than everyone else. The first one we look at is the summon signature. It's called Lord of Latveria. With this you'll summon 6 Latverian servo soldiers. They'll be out for 10 seconds and the cooldown on that is 40 seconds. So if you're running a summon build and you've got all your regular summons out, this on top of it can really look pretty fantastic. But the signature we'll check out next will be the sorcery signature. This next signature here then is a sorcery one, and it's great for clearing an entire screen of trash. You teleport in amongst them, fire this off and you'll make quick work of any enemies. Now it's called Mystical Master, and you have the initial damage packet. You then have a quite hard hitting dot afterwards. It lasts for a rather bizarre 2.5 seconds. On top of that, when you use this you recover 100% of your maximum magic. You gain 25% for mental powers. That tag will likely change to magic, I would imagine, and that buff lasts for 10 seconds and the skill has a 30-second cooldown. But the final signature we'll look at will be the tech signature. Final signature we'll look at then is Technical Tyrant. So this one will fire lasers from his fingertips. It works as a dot. You gain 50% damage absorption while you're channeling it, and it channels for 3 seconds. And a bit of trivia, previously this signature when it first came out it used to spin round and fire out all the lightning bolts, and it looked a bit strange, but thankfully they've changed it to a cone attack, so it looks much better now. The cooldown on it is 40 seconds, I'll mention that as well. Next up anyway, let's have a look at his ultimate skill. For the ultimate then we have something equally fitting of Dr. Doom. This is called Doomsday. So you have 4 of his Doom bots that carry around Doom on a throne. You have huge airstrikes going off every 2.5 seconds. You have missiles firing out at a rate of 6 missiles per second covering the screen, and you have lightning that fires out them as well. Now on top of all that, you're actually invulnerable during this power. So what I'm actually going to do is crank up the volume for this skill so you can hear it in its full glory. So there we go, a whole lot of fun, that one. Now I'll quickly mention it because I was just simply walking down the corridor, which I believe is the best way to show it off. You wouldn't have seen the missiles and the mystic lightning because there was no enemies for them to target. They need an actual enemy there, so just do bear that in mind if you thought, that looked nice but it didn't look as crazy as the tooltip makes it sound. When you're using it in actual gameplay, it's completely insane. Next up anyway, what we'll do is we'll show off the free gameplay videos, and the first one we'll show off will be the summon side of things. Now, just before we look at his actual summon skills here, if you are running a summon build, you will have to use a spender that doesn't actually consume any spirit, otherwise you will run out when trying to use all the skills together. The one I'm showing off at the moment, it's Doom Blast. So this particular one, it's not consuming any spirit as mentioned, and it will actually restore some of your power and magic on hit. And here we go for the fun part now, which is the summon skills. We start off with Latverian Blockade. So a shield bot will distract the dullards while it prepares to go up in the explosive glory of doom. So when you summon this in, it will last for 10 seconds. The cooldown on it is 10 seconds. It will explode once the 10 seconds actually is passed. And on top of that, through talents, which is the summon talents, when we call in the Latverian Blockade, we'll call in the War Drums and the Inferno as well. But let's look at the tooltips for the two of them. The War Drums, this is in Latveria, we march for war to merely the beat of Doom's war machine. So you summon one Latverian Aero bot, 10-second duration, 10-second cooldown, and this one actually works as a dot with the damage on it, and again, once the cooldown is over on it, it will explode, dealing damage to the enemy. And the final summon we look at here is Latverian Inferno. So overwhelming force is the only way Doom conducts war. A Cinderbot will bathe Doom's enemy in the cleansing fire. So summon one Latverian Cinderbot, 10-second duration, 10-second cooldown, damage works as a dot, and again it will explode once the cooldown on it is over. Now the final skill we look at, this is really pretty awesome, it's Worthless Cretin. So for foes not worthy of Doom's powers, Doom will use this barest of weapons to dispatch them. So he pulls out a pistol, shoots the enemy, always does a critical hit, so I like to try and finish off a boss with this single shot. It looks great, and on top of this, if you're running a summon build, this directs all Latverian minions to attack that particular target, and it has an 8-second cooldown there. But what we'll do is we work our way towards the bosses. We'll just show off all these skills, and for the next gameplay segment we'll have the tech side of things, but for now enjoy the summons. There we go, with Shocker down, let's now show off the tech skills and we'll do a run through of Kingpin's warehouse. For the tech side of things then, it's a nice mix of both melee and range skills that we can use. Now the main spender we're showing off as a melee one. This is called the Gauntlet, so he goes toe to toe and just wails away on them with his fists. With this you actually gain a 10% critical hit chance as well. Now the next skill we have, this is a crash down skill, great name on it, it's Beneath Doom's Boot, just used it there, so you jump up, slam down, you have the initial damage packet, knock down the enemy for 2 seconds, that will consume power and you actually gain a 10% damage resistance buff as well, so that's useful if you're wanting to be using that show spender which we showed off a moment ago, which is the melee spender. Now the next skill, this is a good one to follow up after Beneath Doom's Boot, is Crumble Fools. So this one you'll smash the ground, you do the initial damage packet, and once again you can actually knock down enemies for 2 seconds with this. This next skill we look at, we actually showed off in a slightly different version in the first video, the one that we had the summons. This is Assured Destruction, so you can use this as a spender should you wish, and you fire out lots of heat seeking missiles, or in this particular setup through talents I've got it so it's got a 4-second cooldown, but it will just fire off a small amount of missiles but it will do a lot more damage with them. The next skill is a great looking one, it's Latvarian Air Defence, so you'll call in a huge rocket, you get your massive explosion, and on top of that you gain 25% of your bonus damage to summoned allies, and that will also stun enemies for 2 seconds. It does have a rather long 15-second cooldown, but it is really nice looking and the actual stun on it's useful as well. Now final skill we look at here for the tech side of things is Doom Burst. We're firing that off just a second ago to take out the trash, and that's what it's great at actually doing. You can use it as a single target skill as well, but there are ones that will do more damage if you're taking on just one enemy. But what we'll do now is we'll fire off all these skills and work our way towards Dr. Octopus. Once we take him down we have the final gameplay section, which is the sorcery side of things.
Pin this on me?
And there we go, with him down, let's check out the sorcery skills now. This final set of skills then, I believe I've saved the best for last because these really do look pretty fantastic as you would imagine. It's the sorcery skills. Now the basic filler that we're using, it's Conjured Barrage. Because this is a basic skill you could use this with the summons, as we mentioned in that part of the video. You want to use something that doesn't consume any spirit. This one will actually regenerate 6 magic on hit. Now the next skill we have, this is a fantastic dot, it's Unthinkable. You can actually have up to 3 of these, and through talents we've got it so they'll actually search out enemies as well. So this is really good, and the damage on them actually stacks as well. So you want to fire out 3 of them and they'll home in on the enemies. If it's a single target, that should get 3 dots going off all at once there. The next skill, this is another one that's great for taking out enemies over a large area. This is Eldritch Reckoning. So you have the initial damage packet, enemies become vulnerable after you use it, the vulnerability lasts for 8 seconds, and the enemies cower for 1.2 seconds as well there. So that's great seeing Doom do that. Next up we have Channeled Torment. So this particular skill, it works as a dot, gains a damage bonus based on your attack speed. You can actually spam this skill, but through talents, the version I'm showing off at the moment is one where you can only channel it for 4 seconds, but as a result of that it does a whopping amount of damage. The next skill we look at here is one that's actually affected by the same talent that turns Channeled Torment into a skill that you can only channel for so long. So this is Orb of Doom. Now normally you can just fire this out as much as you want, however if you select a particular sorcery talent it becomes a lot more powerful and you gain charges of it, so you can fire this off. It slowly moves across the screen working as a dot, and then you can hit the enemies with your main spender as well. Now on the subject of spenders, we've looked at a basic filler. The one we're going to look at last here is one that will actually consume magic. This is Pierce the Veil. So you have of course your initial damage packet and it will pierce through enemies as the name would suggest. You gain 40% damage bonus versus enemies affected by Unthinkable and Eldritch Reckon. That's the two skills we looked at earlier. And when it pierces through the enemies, it does 10% reduced damage for each enemy that it actually pierces. Yeah, that's up to a maximum of 40% reduction. But we'll fire off all these skills and work our way towards Taskmaster.
Doom has all authority.
Looks like class is in session. Tell me what you think of this. Almost beat Thor with this move.
So with Taskmaster almost down, I'll just once again say thanks for tuning in for another beginner's guide video. This was an enjoyable one to do. I hope it's been insightful and got you hyped for Doctor Doom. Now I've not forgotten about Rogue. I will work on her as soon as possible and I've got some pretty interesting things planned for her beginner's guide. But as always, thanks for tuning in for this and I'll see you all again soon.